Welcome to Season 4 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa. Hi, Barry. How are you?
Lisa. How are you?
2 extra Lisas? Wow, it's a good day in the neighborhood.
It is a good day in the neighborhood. It's been a nice, bright, sunny day here for once.
Yeah, I think the whole world is in the sun today. We've been talking to people on the East Coast, and that's where you're located. I'm on the West Coast, and I hear the birds chirping. We had sunshine from the minute we woke up today. So, yeah,
All right.
all around.
I slept in today. I'm shocked. I got up at 7:45 today instead of 5.
That's late for you.
That's an extra 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Somebody's hibernating. They're like a bear.
Oh, well, that's my nickname is Bear. A lot of my friends call me, "Hey Bear,"
No, yeah, well, that makes sense. I call
or
you
Miss or Mr. B, one of the two.
BB.
Yeah.
BB.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Biz Show, everybody. Thank
Yeah,
you for joining us.
yes. We're happy to have you, and our numbers are climbing. That makes us so happy.
We are. This is season 4. This is episode 12 of season 4.
Yeah.
Obviously, season 4 is started on YouTube. Of course, it's everywhere else as well. But we're just trying to build our presence in YouTube up. It's pathetically low versus we got 44,000 people listening to us on our audio podcast, but only 200 listen here. So, and I think we only got 10 subscribers. So please subscribe and hit that like button and tell your friends about us.
Well, we kind of live in the day where people are multitasking. So people may be listening to us, Barry, while they're on their treadmill or their Peloton or while they're taking a walk. And so they're not able to click into YouTube and watch us on video. But
Well, that's true. That's true. But we'll get there. We'll get there for sure.
exactly.
So today's episode, we've gone through a lot of different things, and today we're going to talk about your pitch, right? Specifically, how do you explain your business to somebody in 60 seconds, right? The elevator pitch of your company.
Yeah, those are the most crucial first few minutes or first minute of your life. You want to make it a standout, and you want to be confident in your delivery.
Yeah, definitely you need clarity, right? Because it's going to matter, especially late down the road if you are going to want to get investors into your company and stuff like that. You need to sell it in the first 60 seconds,
Yes.
right? Not necessarily the whole deal, but you got to grab their attention. You got to bring them in and lure them into you and your business.
And those 60 seconds should count because that'll really tell you whether the investor wants another 60 seconds to listen to you. And maybe that conversation will get expanded right there on the spot, or you may have to schedule a call to expand on your idea. But yeah, make those 60 seconds count so that they want more from you. They want more information. That is the key.
Right, definitely. So, most business owners, they talk way too long, right? So, and they don't talk about the right things, right? They're either too vague or they're too proud and they brag about this, that, and the other about what they do. But investors, they're not looking for a big, long speech, right? They want clarity. They want you to fine tune, pinpoint what you're doing.
Exactly. And we like to call it set the theme. So this isn't about being flashy and having to be like overly gregarious, but it's really about being very clear, very structured, and investable so that they're wanting to invest more of their time in learning more about you and your business. So make it investable. I love that word. It's kind of like InvestQuire, inquiring minds want to know.
There you go.
So that's a great word here.
It is, and you said something in there about flashy, right? Investors don't care about flashy words. They don't care about the bright, shiny objects. They care about the business model, and specifically, what you're doing with the business and how it's going to generate money and stuff like that, right?
That's right. Yeah. So why does it matter so much, Barry? What do the investors want to hear? When you're speaking and doing an elevator pitch or preparing for one, put yourself in the shoes of the investor. I always say pretend like you are the investor listening to yourself, or maybe role play with somebody before you actually go out there and start talking. But why
Yeah.
does it matter so much? So what is it
Well,
that you want to hear, Barry?
I probably get at least 4 or 5 pitches a day, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for the ones that make sense, obviously what fit our wheelhouse and the one businesses that we want to work with. I'm also looking for investors or founders who get it, who understand, they know their business model and stuff like that. A lot of these pitch decks and company, they're too vague, right? Oh, we're going to make $1 million in 2 years. Okay, how? And what's your product, right? So, and then
Yeah.
there's so many buzzwords. Forget the buzzwords. The buzzwords are going to kill you, right? Don't put your buzzwords in there. And then too many founders describe features in of what the product is or the services or what they're doing instead of the business model. Investors want to see and hear the business model. How are you going to make money?
That's the bottom line. Money talks,
That
right?
is, yeah, exactly. So investors want to know quickly what the company does,
Hmm.
what customers are going to buy from you, so who do you serve, how it makes money, and why in the world does it matter? If those
This,
things are unclear in the first minute, they're going to walk out the door. They don't care, right? Their attention's going to drop, their confidence is going to wane, and you're not going to get any follow ups whatsoever at all.
yeah, they're already thinking of how they're going to exit left, right? In the midst if you're in the right conversation.
exit exit stage left. That was that Snagglepuss, a cartoon, I think.
I
I think
know.
so.
This
Yeah.
really was a catchy phrase, but I mean that's
Yeah.
really what happen when you're not hitting those key points. Unfortunately, if you're really good at observing people, you can kind of notice when that glaze starts happening. So this is why we're
Yep.
doing the podcast today. So yeah, so a 60-second explanation really matters because it shows that you yourself have strategic clarity with what you are presenting. And you want
Yep.
to make sure that you are showing the maturity with your leadership in this project, that you're standing tall, so to speak, in a very symbolic way on the idea, so that they are thinking, oh wow, this person really knows what they're talking about, and then they're like wanting to listen a little bit longer and be engaged with you in this 60-second conversation. So make sure you have business understanding about the business as a whole, and that you're communicating the skills that you do possess and have to fully execute this business plan or idea. And that will really be translated in the way you're delivering this message in those first few seconds or first 30 seconds. They're going to really think, wow, this lady or this man is very sharp. They're very clear on their project idea, and they have a very mature leadership style to be able to effectively carry this out and be successful with it, right? And so those
Right.
are all the investment signals that are kind of being firing off in those first 30 to 60 seconds. And so a founder who cannot explain their own business effectively or very clearly, I mean, it's very important to articulate your idea and thought behind your business proposal with clarity. Barry has mentioned this from the very beginning of the podcast, and we are going to drill it home to you guys. So a lot of founders or business owners will maybe struggle with their market positioning. Maybe they don't know who their customer is or how to go about marketing it. And that is the homework you have to do before you go out there and start pitching your project. They may also not know how to deliver the message effectively in a sales way, which a lot of people that have very expertise in a specific industry or field are not salespeople. So they are not the ones maybe to go out there and do the elevator pitch. Maybe they hire somebody. Maybe they tell their spouse or their brother or their employee to go out there and start talking and spreading the word about this company. You don't want to deliver information and have it fall on people's ears in a very negative way, and then they may hear it from somebody else and already shut the idea down. So make sure that you do have a sales message and you're strong in delivering that sales message, and make sure that your team is aligned in delivering the message so that you're all on the same page. Basically, team alignment is very important. And therefore the investor readiness should be able to just, be right there on the forefront by the end of your 60 seconds. So you want to see that. You want to see that excitement coming from the listener, the person that you're pitching to.
Yeah, I'm not a sales guy, right? I don't classify myself as I'm an ops guy. I
Yeah,
mean, yes, I go in, I close deals and stuff like that because I know the business itself.
yes.
I rely on salespeople to go out and get the leads and bring them in and qualify them and stuff like that. Um, and here's what I would say to that too. As you said earlier, practice, right? Practice on your friends, your family, or what the case might be. And your first few ones, you're going to flub, right? You're going to stumble, you're going to trip, you're going to fall. It's a process you need to learn and you'll get better and better and better at it.
That's right.
So I did, right? So what are investors actually listening for, right? Because they are interested, uh, and it's up to you to lose it, right? So investors are mentally screening five things, right? They're what the problem is that's being solved, right? Is it real? Is it painful? Right? We talked about this at other podcasts. Find that pain point and then fix that pain point for it. And is it expensive enough to matter? And then the second thing they're going to listen for is who is the customer? Who's going to buy this? Be specific, right? Not avoid, or I should say, not everyone, and avoid everyone as being your customer or any business, right? You're looking for that niche. Um, so that's the customer that you're looking for, and you need to pinpoint it. We don't know what it is for you. You need to know that. And then what's the solution? How are you fixing the problem? State it simply, right? You don't need to go into like Barry would in a 45-minute dissertation, right? You need about 15 seconds to explain it and move on, right? Don't over explain and leave the features out.
Yeah, so many times I catch myself too, kind of going into the weeds, as we call it, with, when you're talking to somebody and you're really kind of going down this trail, and you really have to make sure you bring it back to
Mm-hmm.
achieve their focus and and respect their time too. So you want to make sure that you're staying on track with that. Sometimes that does happen, so just reel it back in. Um,
Yep.
and say, we could go back into that further, down, if we want to set up a coffee meeting or a Zoom call or something.
That's really where that goes, right? It goes into the secondary meetings and stuff like that. What's number
Absolutely.
four, Lisa?
Make that appointment, right? That's very important.
Yes.
Sales team.
Yeah.
So, the fourth thing that investors are looking to hear is how are we going to make money? Because really, that's what they're wanting to hear. I mean, probably at the very initial stage of the conversation, but you kind of got to hook them, and then you got to tell them how much money and how they're going to make the money. Is it going to be subscription based? Are they going to charge a service fee? Is there licensing that is entailed in this idea or product? And then what are the product sales look like? Like, how much do you expect to sell? And what is the price tag of it? So know the money, do your research behind that, so you're able to clearly know those numbers and deliver those numbers to the investor, because he's going to be thinking money the entire time you're talking. Is this person going to be able to make the money? Is this a good idea or not? That's what they're asking themselves during the conversation. And number five, why are you so different, or why are you so credible in this service or product? Like, what makes you different? What makes you um, investable? Like, what makes you for them wanting to invest in you? Do you have market insight? We talked about that earlier. Do you have unique access to something that maybe a competitor does not? Do you have a better model because you have effectively done your homework and you made your model just a step above the rest, a step above the competition? And then what about strong traction? Do you have any statistics to share with them about traction that you've already have gained in this project or business? An investor does not need your entire business plan in the 60 seconds, but just a couple examples of how you know that you tested the product, you were successful with it, and this is the traction I'm getting. And then that might lead to the next, phone call or
Yeah.
meeting.
Amen on that one. Amen. Right. You don't need the business plan.
Sometimes the business or service speaks for itself, and you don't really have to dive into that too deeply. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So. Just depends.
Yeah. Well, so let's just dive into the framework real fast, right? So the framework it's pretty simple, right? Who you serve, what problem they have, all right? What you do, how you make money, and then what are you different? Why are you different or timely? How can you get there and get this done, right? So that's really the five things that you need to add in. So your formula is we help specific customer and we solve this problem and this is what we do. You can tie that all into one sentence, right?
Yeah.
And make that really fast. And then we make money through whatever your business model is. You said something earlier, subscriptions. Investors love subscriptions, especially monthly subscriptions. If you're hooking them in and you're paying, you're charging $20 a month or whatever, and you've got 1,000 customers, yeah, they're going to be excited about that.
Yeah. Recurring business.
Yeah, exactly. Reoccurring business. And then what's the difference? What's the advantage? What's the traction? Why you, right? Those are the core things.
Yeah, and the reason why that works is because you're being focused on the investor, not the founder. Like you're not there to brag about yourself and how you invented this idea or came up with this project or service. You're actually
Yes.
on the investor. You want to make his life better too, and he's going to want to pay for it as well, himself. If he believes it in enough, he's going to want it himself. So that's really where you're going to see the success in your 60-second pitch. And most
Yeah.
founders start with like their company history came from and how did they think of the idea and all that. People are going to tune you out if you start going down that road. They don't care if your family's Italian, German, Irish, or whatever. So don't go in those weeds. Later on when you guys are getting to know each other because now you're partnered up, that's the time to really like kind of say, oh, who are you? Where did you come from? And get invest in the person later. But right now it's all about the business that you're pitching, right?
Right.
So yeah, and your inspiration story, people like, want to share that because they're that's who they are, and so that it's automatically organically being shared, but just dial that in, cut that back for later. Your mission statement, some people just lead with the mission statement and you kind of lose people, I think, with that. So maybe they're not aligned with that mission statement immediately, so I would not lead with that in your 60-second. And don't get too focused on the technical details. I would say a lot of founders may do that, and those are the nuts and bolts later. I know that when you are pitching even via email, I always tell Barry, shorten the email a little bit shorter, keep it punchy instead of all of the details in there.
Yeah.
So that is the wrong order that you don't want to be pitching in. Investors, first, they first do care about the opportunity, the problem, the economics, and what edge that you bring to the table that may be different from everybody else. And so the clearer and more precise you are, and the faster that you can communicate those specifics, and the stronger your first impression is going to be. And I always say that you only get one chance to make a first impression. So make it a good one.
True. You've mentioned a couple times now about going in the weeds. I think I'm going to get myself a weed whacker and I'm going to carry it in my back pocket and I'll be out there just whacking down them weeds left and right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple, right? And if you can take and you can explain your business model in 60 seconds and articulate the business, the model, how you make money and stuff like that, then you're off to the races, right? So I came and as we know in the past, I was the CEO of a medical software company, right? And so, I would say things along the lines of, hey, we're independent. We help independent medical practices reduce appointments, billings, delays through automated patient communications, health records, scheduling platform, right? So our customers are typically small, mid-sized practices and clinics that lose revenue due to no-shows or manual admin work, right? So those are the things that we would really focus on, just tightening that thing down and squeezing it down to 100 words or less, right? Why that works is because you're clear about your customers, you're clear about the problem, you're clear about the model, and you're clear about your position.
There you go. Yeah, that's a really great example. Another sample of like a service business would be like, hey, we work with lower middle market companies that are preparing for growth, financing, or sale. We help them improve their financial visibility and investor readiness. Our clients are founders led businesses that have really strong operations, but weak reporting and capital strategy. We generate revenue through advising and engaging and ongoing strategic support. Our edge is that we combine financial discipline with transaction readiness, which most traditional consultants do not do. And why does this work? Because we're targeting a specific market with our idea. We have a very clear business plan, and our revenue model is just really clearly stated. And so we're differentiating our position compared to our competitors. So I think those messages were clearly identified in that 60-second pitch for a service company.
You know, that sounds just like InvestQuire.
I know. Uh,
You just gave the InvestQuire pitch.
Thanks, Barry. They're like doing our infomercial right now.
You just did it, right? So exactly. Perfect. Spot on.
There we
So,
go.
how do you build this, right? We talked about this in up above about how to frame this and put this all together. But really, what are you looking to do? Step by step, right? You need to define your exact customer, right? Who are they? Who pays? Who benefits? Who's the decision maker? I don't know how many times I've gone to meetings and the decision maker's not even there, right? I mean, and you and I've done this many times in recent, like the decision maker's not there. So then we have to go through all of this different, meetings and stuff like that. And we have to win these people over. And it's always seems like it's a football game where you got to win this game to get to that game, to get to this game, to get to the next game before you actually get to the quarterback or whatever the case might be, right?
And I don't mind that so much because if you are impressing the first layer, then they're going to actually sell it for you. So I don't mind that so much.
I don't mind it so much, and again, what's it do? It helps you practice and hone your skills, right?
Yes,
So,
definitely.
the second thing is to define the problem, the real problem, not what you think it is or the artificial problem. We've talked about this in past episodes of do your due diligence, go in and research and figure out what's going on, right? And I'm going to say it again, pain. Pain is where customers are going to buy from you. When they have a pain and you can solve that pain for them, they're going to pull out their checkbook at that point, right? So the next is what's it going to cost them, right? Hopefully not an arm and a leg, their firstborn child, or whatever their case may be. I don't want their firstborn child. Forget that. I've already gone through that. I don't need to go through it again. Mine are grown. And then what happens if they ignore it? Is their business going to fall apart if they ignore this?
Yeah.
Are they going to lose customers? Or is their competition going to come in and take over? Are they number one? We talked about this, probably two seasons back. The problem when you become the number one business in your market, you got a target on your back because number two, three, and four are gunning for you now, right?
Yeah.
So this becomes very critical in the sense that, if you ignore that, guess what? You're going to fall behind.
That's right. That's right. Have a lot of awareness. And then step three would be describe your solution in plain English. A lot of people want to get all like, glitzy and glamory with their word choices. And we want to avoid that because we don't know, if you're dealing with somebody that is not from the USA. You just want to be very clear in the choice of words that you're using when you are describing and doing it in 60 seconds. So avoid the jargon, the fluff words and acronyms and avoid like all these like lists, you're going to lose their attention span in that. So say what the business does in plain English. Be smart. Something where, an expert in the field does not have to understand because they may not know the terminology yet until they dive in deeper. So just use plain English, and there's a perfect way to get your point across.
You know, you said something here, and it literally just popped in my head in the sense that you and I, well, me, but you too,
Yeah.
we were in the San Francisco Bay Area in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And those people are different and they understand things differently. Then we moved down to Orange County, Newport Beach, Irvine area, and stuff like that. And that was a different type of person,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Geographically, but also I'm now like, oh yeah, so I had to modify. Now I've moved to the East Coast in the South, and I've completely had to modify how I address people and everything down here. Out here, it's much slower. And
Yeah.
so when you say, don't use the jargon and acronyms, a lot of people, you don't know your audience. You don't know what they do understand if they are going to understand the acronyms. I hate it when people say, oh, LBCT. What is
Uh-huh.
that? Or Microsoft is notorious for using letters and acronyms and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Do you think that your brand new customer who's not done business with you does? Probably not.
Uh, yeah. It's just if they don't know what it means, they're just gonna like skip over it and you may lose business right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So step
Sorry for
four.
that.
Step four is state the business model. Investors want to know where the revenue is coming from and whether it's recurring, like the subscription-based income that we were talking about. And how
Yes.
scalable can it be? Where can we take this farther? How scalable can you take this business, in the future? And that's really going to keep their mind like interested if they think that there's ability to expand on this idea. And then step five is add the differentiator. This could be, how fast you can get the product produced. What is your niche focus? It could be proprietary processes. It could be the traction is like really attractive to the investor, and timing. Like, are you presenting this product and service at a time that it is needed by the consumer? Is this like an old fashioned way of doing things, and maybe it's not in the best timing to bring this to the forefront? Maybe there's something better. So timing is really crucial in knowing that your product will succeed or your service is going to be needed. And then your founder expertise, like, have you tried it out? Is this something that you're very familiar with yourself? What is this an expertise of yours that you have in the ability to effectively, provide it to your consumer or to your buyer? So those are just really important ways that you could be a standout in the crowd, if you will, in the investor's eyes.
And all those make sense, Lisa. I mean, let's face it. If a founder, some guy is a tech guy and he's trying to start a construction company, there's a disconnect here, right?
Correct.
Maybe building and woodcraft work and stuff like that might be his hobby, but does he know all the laws and stuff like that? Probably not. So he's probably not going to be the best at being at running a construction company.
Yeah.
At least not initially.
Yes. Don't miss a mark.
Yeah, well, let's talk about a few mistakes that we've seen, right? Because we've seen a lot of them. Not to say that we haven't made some of them ourselves, right? But um, starting with, and you and I have gone back and forth with this a long time ago, not a long time ago, but not too long ago, with InvestCard, right? The company name, right? So the company name is important, right? It, first of all, this is a mistake. Nobody cares about your company name and everything. Where it is important to you, and it should reflect on what you do, investors, they don't really care.
Yeah, it doesn't determine the success of your business. I mean,
Right.
it could be any name. It's really the person behind the name.
Yep.
Yep. So mistake two.
So number two is talking about your features and not the outcomes, right? The outcomes are what you want to convey, right? Investors, they are going to invest in value, not the features,
Okay. Yeah, good point.
right? Yeah. And then number three is saying the market is for everyone. It's not, right? If everyone is your market, then nobody is,
That's right.
right? Your people aren't going to buy your product,
Too
if you're selling pillows, then okay, people who sleep with pillows, they might. I know a lot of people who don't even use pillows, you
well,
know,
not every
and
pillows out there. Like you're really like, the side sleeper pillow, the back sleeper pillow,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And if you get, I've seen those big long pillows that you throw your leg over and stuff like that, right? So not everybody is going to be your customer for that.
That's right. That's right. Mostly single people want the body pillow. Just kidding. We're going
I
in the
wouldn't
weeds.
know.
We're getting in the weeds now. Um,
All right, let me get my weed whacker out.
Common mistake number four is overloading with jargon. So you're getting like off point because you're getting all of these fluff words, in the way of you delivering a clear, accurate 60-second pitch. So
Yep.
avoid the jargon, avoid all those sophisticated words, just be very clear and simple. I always say short and sweet. Let's keep it short and sweet. Keep the attention, keep them wanting more. Mistake number five, avoiding the revenue model. If you don't talk money, bye. It's like, you need to talk money. I mean, we all want to know at the end of the day, Barry, you haven't said that in a long time. At the end of the day,
I have because it used to come out of my mouth all the time. At the end of the day, so I completely cut it out of my vocabulary, but you
no,
just brought it back.
at the end of the day, we all want to know about, I mean, time is money. And so we're investing in this and we want to know what money is going to be brought forward from it. So make
Right,
sure you
right.
discuss the revenue model. Mistake number six would be trying to impress them instead of inform them. Like some people think, oh, they're just so ego. They lead with ego and I'm just so smart and I'm just so this and I know everything about it. And they're just talking about themselves and they come across really like egocentric, and nobody really cares about that. We
We
want
know
to be
somebody like that.
we do know somebody like that, and that does not deliver results. It actually stops them in its
Yeah.
and all about humility and getting on the same page with the investor and making sure you are aligned with them so that you can give them all of the answers that they're looking for, and that'll get you to the finish line. So
Yep.
get rid of your ego, get rid of it in work, business, pleasure, relationship. Get rid of the ego. I hate ego.
I I add an extra E and make it an ego.
Okay, you just promoted a brand. I love it.
Oh no! There. Hey, royalties, please.
Yeah. Are they even making those waffles anymore? Oh my gosh, my
Oh, they
son,
do.
we pop them in the toaster and bring it in the car with us. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, let's talk about let's get some tips here, right? Tip number one is write your explanation down on paper, right? Write it down, fine tune it, and then guess what? Cut it in half,
Get
right?
the whacker out and cut it now.
Get the scissors and whack that thing, or the weed whacker, whatever you're going to use, right? But whatever you wrote down is too long.
Yeah.
All right. Pro tip number two, test it on somebody outside of your industry, right? So if you are in IT, test it on somebody in medical. If you're a business owner and have a storefront that sells gifts, go to a Lowe's or a Home Depot and test that out on somebody in there, right?
Yeah.
Um, if they can't repeat it back, then you didn't do it right. All right, you're not.
Exactly.
It's not clear enough. And
That's
then lead with the business. Forget your bio. Don't go with your bio. Lead with the business.
yeah.
That's tip number three.
Pro tip number four is tailor the 60 seconds slightly based on the audience. Like
Yeah,
if it's going to be an angel investor or a banker, or if it's the strategic buyer that you're speaking to, make sure that you're having a different 60-second pitch for those different types of people that your audience, who you're speaking to.
that makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, you're talking to the wrong audience. Pro
Yep.
tip number five would be practice until it sounds natural, not memorized, not really scripted, but just really like where you're speaking from your heart, not your ego, but your heart on the topic, on the business. And you're just organically having a conversation, right? You just want to
Right.
really let somebody know about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tip number six, end with traction or relevance wherever it's possible. So examples would be like there's growing demand. You'll be able to get recurring revenue, which is always what people want, right? There's
Right.
strong early adoption. People are going to like need it and want it, very quickly. And also the clear market timing. So that if you know those things and you're able to lead with those things in your conversation, then it'll be a very effective conversation.
Yes. Yes. Completely agree on that. All right, the five things you need to avoid, right? Number one is describing your business with buzzwords, right? We discussed this already. Buzzwords are going to kill you. Just use plain language because, again, you don't know who your audience is. Um, claiming everyone is your customer. They're not.
Yep.
So, people say that all the time. And then leaving out how much money you make, right? Those things are critical.
Well,
So,
money.
yeah, yeah. What's next, Lisa? Yeah.
Leading with your passion story instead of the business. So, we all know that we all love certain things, but definitely keep business focused, right? Number one. Um,
Yeah.
and taking 5 minutes to explain the idea, Barry.
Hey now. I'm getting better.
Yes, exactly. So those are some
So,
things to avoid. That was just the overview of what we
yeah.
talked about on this podcast. And yeah,
Yeah.
so hopefully that was
So,
helpful.
so listen, if you can't explain your business simply, then you're not ready to sell it, you're not ready to scale it, and you're not ready to raise any money for it, right? You need to go in and fine tune this.
Yeah, practice it, like you said. Practice it on somebody that
Yes.
doesn't know anything about it and make sure that they can repeat it back to you and they fully understand what you're saying. And they're
Yep.
interested, right? Clarity is not a communication trick. It is just a business discipline. Like knowing how to effectively communicate is very, very important. Um,
It is, and I've through all my 40 years of management experience, communication has been critical. And I can go back and think about many times. If you communicate wrong, you're going to get the wrong results.
exactly. And we must be doing a good job at that because we are having an increased audience. So we are definitely communicating well, don't you think? That's not ego. That's just giving my our audience some props. Thank you for listening to us, you guys.
Yes, it's my passion. I mean, I love educating people and teaching it. We've had this conversation many times. For
Yes.
me, when that light bulb goes off in our customer's head, that's my reward right there.
Yeah, and if you guys want us to dive into a topic, on a deeper level, we'd be glad to do a podcast on it. So please hit us up on a DM or in the comments on the Biz Show Facebook page. You could find us there. We also have an Invest Choir in Facebook and Instagram page, or you can reach out to Barry or myself.
Yeah, you can even find us right here on YouTube.
That's right. We love to hear from you guys.
Please. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week. Now,
Thank
go out and make some money.
Thank you all for listening to the Biz Show podcast. Subscribe to stay updated and follow Barry and Lisa on Facebook at The Biz Show. Share your comments or suggest business topics that you'd like to hear. Thank you all for listening. Bye.